Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another Living World of Darkness, Changeling the Dreaming Kingdom of Apples. This scene, Dessa's been out scouring the areas, calling people, checking with them, trying to get information, get people together to get certain things done because she's a very driven individual. She's a wilder. That's what they do. They just go and do stuff. So she's actually out at a coffee shop, just sitting there, just taking some time, and that's where this scene will begin. Is Dessa just sipping on some coffee, the lifeblood that seems to keep her going lately.
Um, Observes the area of tucked away in a corner, hiding. He's actually reading a newspaper and sipping his coffee. Uh, Ron, like, you know how when people are trying to make themselves invisible, but they're not quite doing the best job of it. And when you're as tall as Ron is, it's kind of you know, he's 5'10". It's a little bit difficult to hide, make yourself invisible. But he's trying his best behind this newspaper that he's reading. But he sets it down once in a while, drink his coffee.
Is he trying to hide from Dessa or just life in general?
Everybody.
A Dessa will get up with her coffee, stroll around the shop. He's distracted with his newspaper, probably. And she'll go around behind him, see kind of what he's reading in the paper.
So she like sneaks up on him.
She's looking over his shoulder to see what he's reading.
Um, surprisingly, he's reading the sports section.
And what sports does he seem to be focusing his directed gaze at?
He's actually reading about the pro surfing competition that happened in Hawaii recently.
I hear that's a pretty big deal out there. A voice far too close
Okay.
to his proximity, very quiet.
Oh, he jumps out of his skin, knocks over his coffee, all over on the newspaper. Fuck! And he like stands up and starts trying to clean it up. Please, 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 please don't do that. Now I need new coffee and a new paper.
Since it was my fault that they're damaged, I'll be happy to get them for you.
Okay, sure.
No argument.
Hi, Dessa. Hi.
Good evening, Ron. And she'll look at his cup to see what he had ordered.
Um, it's a low-fat latte. Just simple coffee with normal non-dairy creamer and sugar.
And she will go up and order him another coffee, just the same way as that one, and grab a newspaper for him and bring him back an offering of apology.
Um, he takes it and after one of the baristas had come over to clean off the table and everything while they were she was ordering his new coffee, and they actually brought him a fresh newspaper, and um he'll take it. He'll sit back down. Thank you very much. Mean for that to happen, but I'm kind of clumsy sometimes, and you really scared the shit out of me.
Well, good thing it wasn't a snake caressing you then.
I mean, but I'm
No
not
offense.
not afraid of snakes, but I just stay over there.
I will keep that in mind. Trying not to give people heart attacks, but it seems so difficult sometimes. So what has you out and about this evening?
Just hanging out. Got to get out of the house sometimes, and this is one of my favorite spots.
I can see why. I was told it was a nice place. I am not disappointed.
He'll smile. What have you been up to lately?
Solving interspecial problems, looking into resurrecting individuals, planning to bring back a dead wooden girl and save a royalty's life. You know, usual Saturday. Not even a flinch. And you say you're.
And you say you're what?
And you say you're shy and scared. So many things.
Being shy doesn't mean I'm a scaredy cat.
No, but you did have that hint of it during that thing with the girl, Brooke, I think her name was.
What do you mean?
You had a moment of trouble.
Oh, well, I just don't like blood.
Oh, that's all. It's not necessarily something to really blame somebody for.
It's
Blood can
not
be
being
messy.
scared, it's just the sight of blood makes me pass out sometimes.
That's not something to really be concerned about, honestly. So many people do it. It's actually quite common. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, but it's just kind of embarrassing to pass out when there's a fight or I mean, he kind of like keeps his voice low. You know, if we are out fighting something and I don't keep it together, I could end up passing out in the middle of something important and that you know,
That you could.
it's just kind of embarrassing.
Understandable. Still, you didn't give any reaction. I was kind of shocked. Part of me, I guess, had almost hoped for a reaction. Something. Acknowledgement, maybe. I think that's what most of us are looking for in the world. Kind of an acknowledgement to our existence, as it were. If you know what I mean.
You kind of cut out a little bit. What did you say?
She said that that's kind. Seems like that's maybe something all of us are looking for. You know, a little acknowledgement of our existence in the world.
See, I mean, yes and no, but there are many times I'm perfectly fine no one acknowledging that I exist.
Is that so?
Hell nod. Yeah, actually, it is so.
That is quite interesting. You are an oddity, sir.
So I've been told.
Just gets curiouser and curiouser. I apologize. I seem to wander in my thoughts sometimes. Can get the better of me on occasion.
Yeah, I can relate. Except I allow my thoughts to wander quietly, and then people think I'm not paying attention to them.
That I can see why.
Oh?
The quiet are often thought to be ignoring the world around them when they're merely ignoring individuals or lost in a wonderful thought that's bringing them quite a bit of intrigue and interest. I think that's what's driven me the last few days with these in anime.
So what's been going on?
You really were lost in your own thoughts.
You already told me, didn't you?
I did.
Something about an anime?
Yes, I've been looking to resurrect Wooden Girl. Uh, you see, there have been a few sacrifices, and
Oh.
there's going to be a large one in the very near future.
Kind of open and then closes his mouth like I did miss that. Um,
And so, resurrecting this girl who was one of the sacrifices, I'm hoping to use it as a means to. What's the word? Use her as a means to facilitate conversation because they don't really tend to like our type. They're much different than us, but several of their kind have been bound by cold iron, and they think this ritual will free them. Unfortunately, it won't because, well, you know how cold iron affects our magics.
oh, yes.
And
And he's
being
got like the newspaper up, kind of shielding their conversation. Um, because I figured that they're probably sitting next to each other speaking. Well, he has to kind of sit right next to her to be able to hear her anyway, and then he's also just kind of whispering um, so that people around them, it's just a fairly quiet night, but even still, so that people don't hear what they're talking about, just as out of character clarification for anybody who happens to be watching the scene. Continue.
Tess is always in a whisper because she's Slua and they can't talk above a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, so yes, it's been quite interesting. The Duke's looking forward to the help. I've already recovered the bowl from the first sacrifice. I can't seem to find any evidence from the second, other than the ritual circle, that is. But I ended up with the blood, so that means they're gonna need even more blood. Which sadly means there could be a death before the ritual even begins. That's why we're trying to avoid it if we can by resurrecting one of them, using her as an intermediary, as it were. Mm,
You can handle the blood for sure. Um,
I'm trying to avoid blood if possible.
that would be good. Do you need help?
We may need help. I don't know how well it's going to go. And it is cold iron, so having anybody about who's willing to help and free other creatures of the dream would be beneficial. Just getting close to it makes me uneasy, almost nauseous. Seem to be a bit more sensitive than others, which is not something I'm proud to admit. But it makes me keenly aware of its presence.
He'll nod.
We'll be at the cloister, and you know the abbey. She'll rattle off the name of the famous abbey cloister that is in New York that it's a part of. That I don't remember out of character. It'll be there, probably Friday, if the what I saw is true. Well, I'm hoping to
Well,
deal with it by then. If we just tried to take it out, they would see it as an attack on them. That's why we need to be able to speak to them, but they're not very keen on conversating with our folk. You're welcome to come if you are interested. Minerva was at the second sacrifice, and she seems a curious folk. I'm sure she'd be interested in seeing a closure of it.
it kind of tilts his head and is like, "Why the fuck didn't she tell me about
The
this?"
tree burning. Weren't you there? No, it was me and Dessa talking, and
No, I've been working a lot, and she has school. We probably just didn't. Why did? Why didn't she tell me? I'm going to chew her out.
well, if you've both been busy, she might have slipped her mind.
How could something like this slip somebody's mind? Seriously, really? Come on.
Well, there was a tree that kind of caught fire, and then the woman who sank into the ground, leaving her clothes and possessions behind. And she was beautifully made, and called herself Jean Baptiste, though she looked more like the woman named Jean, handmaiden to, what was her name? Joan of Arc, that's right.
Okay.
But she's meticulously crafted. That's the thing, some of them are crafted for, well, not them per se, though they take on aspects of their material, as it were. They are, in effect, the living portion of the item they're crafted from. And there's a whole long discussion and different ideas on them and standing between the two factions, those that are stuck with man-made items and those that are still natural and wild and free. Am I boring you?
No.
You just seem lost,
I
almost
just
in your
can't
own
believe
head.
just can't believe she didn't tell me. Kind of pouts.
Well, such things happen, and it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, perhaps. Isn't it about time for midterms in schools?
Yes.
Because this just happened
Yes.
last week. Friday, I think.
Oh.
Thursday, maybe.
Oh. Okay. She's probably busy studying and stuff, and like I said, I've been busy at work. She probably just didn't want to bother me with this, but I want to help.
Wonderful, then we can see you at the cloister then.
Yes.
Friday. Wonderful, there'll be the Count. He's a ducal count, whatever his name is. The guy in charge of Manhattan, you know. Count, Count.
He shrugs. I don't know any. I don't pay attention. I probably should, but I don't.
Hmm. I'll remember his name probably when I leave. It's usually how it works, doesn't it? So, tell me, what's been going on with you? What's got you so busy at work?
Well, it's hurricane season. We get a lot of stray things that wash up on shore, especially from areas that they aren't necessarily a lot of things, animals that get caught in the currents, and they aren't necessarily from here, but there they are, and so we take them in and we check them out, and if necessary, keep them. Other times we try and return them to their natural habitats. So there's just been a lot of with the crazy hurricanes that have been happening lately. Uh,
And what about that strange surge of the Hudson?
right. Yeah. That was weird. Yeah. So there's just been a lot of that type of thing going on, and keeps me busy. I'm the head marine biologist at the New York Aquarium, so work.
I bet. Well, at least you're keeping busy. Should make the days go by faster. And it's something you seem to love almost as much as surfing.
Um, yeah, I uh, I do really love my work. Um,
Did you try surfing that surge from the Hudson? Would have been quite a wave, wouldn't it?
it would have, but unfortunately, I was nowhere near there when it happened. So,
Hmm. Pity. I would have loved to have heard that story.
but the hurricane activity elsewhere that has it's kind of impacted the ocean here have produced some killer waves.
Wonderful. Sounds like you've been having a good time when you're not at work then.
Try to, for sure.
I always pictured you more of a body surfer than a stand-up surfer.
Because I'm a seal.
Well, it would make sense. Though being in the water just generally makes sense. Why limit you? That is rather limiting. I'm sorry for that. I will try to do better in the future.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I only tend to body surf when I am in that form.
I will keep that in mind. So you do body surf. Hmm.
Occasionally, yes, I do. are you afraid of the water at all?
Afraid of it now. We just have history with the ocean.
Right. Okay. Well, would you want to watch me surf sometime? I think you'd probably get a kick out of watching me body surf as a
That I might. That would
seal.
be quite interesting, actually. Do you do it early morning or early evening? Or do you really have a preference?
I tend to do early evenings after work.
Hmm.
Early mornings I go for a run.
Ah, a runner. Good to know. Perhaps I'll come by one evening and watch.
Sure. I wouldn't mind that. I could use more friends.
Friends are always good, aren't they? Hmm. What was that Minerva and I were talking about? Right, a little group of friends, perhaps. Close knit. If my plans pan out, from this Friday, I may have a little extra home to offer such a small, close, tight knit group of friends. Shouldn't such a thing ever happen?
He kind of grins because there's been some thoughts swirling around in his head.
Minerva and I talked about her doing the defenses for it, and you always have to be able to protect it, you know.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what kind of services I could offer, but
You're a marine biologist. You have access to scuba gear,
you.
boats. Sometimes treasures aren't on land.
A treasure quest.
Oh, yes, that's why I love my books. I use them for research, locating treasures.
Okay. I can definitely provide those things, and I'm he leans in even closer. I'm working on getting better with metamorphosis and actually just kind of turn us all into sea animals eventually.
Interesting. I'm working on several of my own arts right now. I'm skilled with the names of people and places.
And I can talk to animals underwater.
That's highly beneficial.
I have primal.
My most of my focus has been on names,
Ooh.
but I do have a touch of
Oh, right.
skill with,
You do sanings, right?
yes, I do have a touch of skill with omens, as it were, seeing things, glimpses, whether it be recent past or major events of people and places.
Cool. Cool. That sounds really good. We'll all have to get together soon and talk somewhere we can speak a lot more openly.
Well, my abode is always open. I have the front sitting room, part of my library.
Okay. Well, there's also my place. I have a house on Brighton Beach, so and it's plenty big enough for everybody to come over.
Wonderful. We'll see where my new abode ends up being if I can manage to get it. He said he owes me a lot for doing this, so.
Oh, all right.
So, yes, I could have a nice little place where we can restore our reserves on occasion if we're feeling a bit drained. To rest, recuperate, as it were, or to simply prepare for a fun little trip.
Well, I do like adventures,
Don't we all? That's kind of why we
especially
stay.
especially when they involve the sea.
Oh,
I'm
see what?
surprised you would want to go diving.
It's a risk, but it's not necessarily a bad risk. Just a reminder.
So, should we all just kind of keep an eye out for Poseidon?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, I belong in the sea, so maybe with me there, it'll be okay.
Perhaps. You see, the problem wasn't with Poseidon. Do you know the story?
Um, I do.
You're aware that the first incarnation of me, to say, so to speak, laid with him as husband and wife on Athena's altar, and that's why she cursed us.
Yes.
So the problem isn't with Poseidon, it's not upsetting Athena again. Though, if a
Right.
god were
So,
to.
Athena would have a problem with you going into the ocean?
No, she would have a problem if I mated with him on her altar again. I would
Oh,
then become scaly and hideous, which
okay.
means I keep her out of that room of my house just to avoid it, just to be safe.
So, I will make it my personal duty to make sure that you do not fuck him again.
Oh, the sex wouldn't necessarily be the problem, it's just where.
Oh, oh. Okay, well, I'll make sure you don't take him home.
I am a bit far from the sea for him. But such is life, and though to see him again after such a long time, would he still find me that beautiful woman I once was? Or my previous incarnations, as it were, as I am not the original. I am part of her, though not truly, fully her. That's why I have legs. And she'll kick up a foot above the table.
He'll nod. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yes, I will let you get back to your sports page, and I will see you Friday then, yes?
Yes, most definitely you will see me Friday.
Very well, then I'll let you get back to your sports page. Enjoy. And she will stand up and take her coffee and leisurely make her way out, as if she's very casual and not worried about a thing in the world.
Yeah, and Ron has a lot to think about, and he's gonna be texting Minerva soon to be like, "Bitch, what's up?" Uh, and yeah, he's gonna stay there a little longer and enjoy his coffee, go back to reading his sports page before he heads home. And I think that's where we can end our scene. Yeah. Thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.